I'm gonna head over. See you guys. Hello, friends. Oh, God. It's tricky like that, you know. We'll have our little theme music playing. Setting up the streams. Welcome in, everybody. Powers said first. Welcome in, Powers. Electrical Cat says dope. Probably saying that all jacked up. I'm not good with my French. Greg Heffley, also known as the Wimpy Kid, right? He's wondering what the topic is. It will be revealed shortly, my friend. But welcome into round 3 of our summer tournament debate night series.
We're starting here in a few minutes. Give us some time for people to find their way here. Yeah. Any thoughts on this first topic, Sophie?
Say it one more time.
Any thoughts on this first topic?
No, say the topic for me one more time. Sorry.
Oh, no, apologies. Should the U.S. downsize the military in favor of domestic spending?
Yes. They should downsize the military, even if it didn't give a single citizen another penny. It should be smaller. Because what's the point of it being so big? Like, you know, sometimes too big is not good.
True. Sometimes too big is true.
In some
not good.
cases.
In
Like,
some
what's it
cases, true.
actually doing? Like, we're in Iran getting beat up by mined waters, and, you know, even looking back at Afghanistan, how did that work out for us with people with the IEDs, and then going back to Vietnam, like guerrilla warfare kicked our ass. Like what does a huge military benefit us when we continue to engage in wars that aren't suited for the type of airfare and seafare that they tend to necessitate. So yeah, I'm
True.
I'm for minimization. What about you?
I'm definitely for oh god, there's like some autistic game I used to play that like that was always the first move I would do is just like downsize the military and then put way more into like domestic spending into like education and shit like that. I definitely broadly agree with it. However, like um I don't know, threats around the world and shit, I do see the need for having a strong military and stuff. But also the way that Trump's using it is just absolutely fucking disgusting and I hate it. Oh,
Yes, agreed. All right. The side chat is always so funny.
true, true. Where the fuck's Auntie? All right. There's
He's up.
Auntie.
He's
Okay.
up. There he is.
All right. I don't know if I can just like find him or yeah. All right.
Okay.
This first topic for debate night. Any is there any announcements we're supposed to give? I mean, make sure you're
Oh
signed up
gosh.
to vote and shit.
Yeah,
Uh,
still definitely go to let me put it in the register. Hopefully that comes up. Okay. No, I still have to do the whole shit. HTTP s:// this thing. All right. Go to this link and make sure you register to vote. We're still looking for um as many people to check their registration as possible just because the voter rolls are being purged. There is a lot of fuck shit happening. So with the shenanigans afoot, make sure that you are checking yourself, check your wife, your girlfriend, your
your wife and your
dad.
girlfriend, true.
Yeah.
Your
Check your
your side
kids,
chick, your main
check your
chick,
wife.
your third chick, the third
You
wheel,
got to be checking everybody
any
up in
chick,
here. Exactly. So
anyone you
make sure
know.
you go
Okay,
there.
random people in the street. Okay, we do not care. We just
Yes.
want to make sure people can vote.
Check them. Check them. And it benefits us a little bit cuz we're in a bit of a competition with thanks Unscary, but we're in a bit of a competition with some other left-leaning organizations. Uh we won't name any names. So the more we get, the better it looks for us and we get a little change for it. So definitely click that link as many times as you can to register or check that you're registered. We've already seen some people say like, "Oh wow, I was actually off and I was able to fix it." So do that. Good job, Bunny. She voted for Kamala 5 times. That's what we like to see. Yes, as long as you had your immigrant
Well, yeah, true.
family join you, that's what we need.
All right. I think that's all we
Yes.
need to do for setup. So, this first topic we have: should the U.S. downsize the military in favor of domestic spending? Uh, we have Auntie on yes, and we have Zach on no. Uh, unless anyone have any disagreements, I think I'll start with Auntie. You go with starting?
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, I can hear you. 2 minutes on the clock. Your time starts now.
Thank you. I want to begin with a question. The Pentagon's budget this year is approximately $1 trillion, the first time in American history that top line defense spending was that high. The administration is asking in the following fiscal year for another 1.5 trillion, or for to up the amount from 1 trillion to 1.5 trillion, not an additional 1.5 trillion, which is a 47% increase. That said, when you add veterans care, nuclear weapons programs at the Department of Energy, intelligence agencies, and interest on the debt from past wars, total national security spending approximately approaches $2 trillion annually. And so the question is, who bears the burden of justifying that amount? In a democracy, the answer has to be in the institution requesting the money, not the citizens funding it. Public money requires a public interest in a public case, and the public case needs to be made that the spending is better than alternative uses. Well, let's start with some of the issues already, starting with accountability. So, in the most recent audit, the GAO identified 26 material weaknesses in the DoD. Auditors could not determine the value of F-35 spare parts because the department could not verify what it owned. An institution that cannot account for that, which it already has, is not well positioned to argue it needs more. And this is a structural problem. Consider the fiscal context. In 2025, federal interest payments on national debt reached roughly $970 billion.
30 seconds.
Net interest on the public debt surpassed 1 trillion for the first time and then exceeded direct defense spending by tens of billions. Lastly, I'll just talk about the redirection point because I have 15 more seconds. For every dollar or for every $1 million spent in the defense sector, it generates roughly 5 jobs. For healthcare, that's 9. For education, that's 13. Clearly, if the case is to be made that we should keep it at the same level, if not increase it, we need to justify it relative to those alternative uses.
Right. That is time. Now we throw it over to Zach. 2 minutes on the clock. Ready
Okay.
to go?
Yep.
All right, your time starts now.
Good evening to the DGGers in the chat, to my opponents, and the judges, and to the staff of Digital Ground Game for hosting this event. Tonight I'm here to represent the con position to the prompt should the U.S. downsize the military in favor of domestic spending, meaning I'm here to argue that defense spending is too critical to face cuts. My argument is based upon 3 pillars. Firstly, our current grand strategy of deep engagement with the world is the most optimal strategy for both national and global security. Engaging with our allies and other members of NATO, the most powerful alliance in history, gives us unprecedented informational and strategic advantages. While if we were to retrench ourselves, which cuts would naturally lead to, we would find ourselves in a far more dangerous world, with nations such as South Korea, Japan, or Saudi Arabia even seeking a nuclear safeguard against attack. Secondly, global security also secures global trade, which is essential for American prosperity. According to the U.S. Chamber of Commerce in 2020, 41 million jobs rely upon global trade, which can only occur because the U.S. Navy secures the shipping lanes. This keeps insurance costs low, which in turn fuels the supply chains we all depend on. Finally, there exists an assumption built into tonight's prompt that the U.S. cannot afford to have a strong military and strong domestic programs. This is not the case. The IRS reports there's a tax gap of $606 billion in uncollected taxes. Even if we obtained half of that, that would be more than enough to fund domestic projects. The issue lies in the political will of the nation. The reason infrastructure isn't invested into isn't a lack of funds, it's a lack of political will. The defense sector isn't an evil boogeyman stealing from domestic coffers, it is a
30
shield that
seconds.
offers domestic programs to even exist. Ultimately, the key question before you all is national security important enough to fund? I hope tonight I will provide enough information for you all to vote con. Thank you.
Nice. With time to spare, Zach. Good job. All right. Now we're going on to the open discussion part. And
Ugh.
everyone just take a breath, breathe in, chill. We're good. Okay. All right. Our open section starts now.
Here we go.
Okay. So you brought up the audits. Yes, the Pentagon has failed the last 7 audits. Are you aware what the primary issue with the audits was, why they were failing the audits?
Yes, so the primary issue isn't that they failed as a misnomer, and that's why I used mismanagement. So the concern is around 2 things. One is ensuring that they are able to operate with a certain level of security, and then the other one is just them not having the infrastructure necessary to track all of the parts. So I don't think that um, any serious person disputes, for example, the F-35 claim that I made, that they didn't know, or they it's not that they didn't know, they couldn't verify the existence of the spare parts even if they had them.
Yes, the primary issue with the documentation, as we see from, let me open this up real quick, from the Government Accountability Office's investigation into the failed audits, is that there's just a failure in documentation, and the main reason coming from multiple different IT infrastructures being set up to be able to store all this documentation that have conflicting structures to not communicate with one another. With the F-35 parts, the parts do exist, they just can't prove it documentarily. It's not like they're losing the parts or people are stealing them. So this is kind of a non-issue. But if we were to go back to,
Wait, what do you mean it's a non-issue that the IT systems and also aspects of the infrastructure and just the national security component prevents us from being able to do an acceptable audit? So then the Marine Corps was able to do an acceptable audit. They have national security reasons as to why they do the things that they do. They have an infrastructure. The meme associated with the Marine Corps is that they're a bunch of crayon eaters. The DoD is not capable of doing this.
No, the
Because they're
DoD is
tiny?
capable of doing this. The failures in IT infrastructure is mostly due with the age of the systems. And if we wanted to bring them up to modern standards, this would require money. So cutting the budget wouldn't be helping this. And if we wanted to have efficiencies, cutting the budget wouldn't also help this because we'd have to investigate and confirm what would need to be done, build an action plan, and actually commit to it.
So just before we proceed, what do you think is the appropriate level of spending in the DoD? Do you have a number in mind?
For the While it's beyond the scope of the prompt, I would say I would personally prefer to have an increased budget for defense given the current situation globally. Even if we look at as you mentioned earlier, that the raw dollar amount of defense spending has gone up, but if we were to look at it as a percentage of GDP, it's actually at a 60-year low point at about 2.8% of GDP. I would personally prefer it to be at about 3.4%. That's what the Center of Strategic Intelligence recommends. So that's what I would go with.
And you do not believe in the Congressional Budget Office's $1 trillion reduction while maintaining any and all national security infrastructure in place. It's just a redirection of funds in the same way that we would do base realignment and closure, in the same way that we would reorient or restructure our support for, say, like Western European defense to the South China Sea.
Well, that would be from the current Congressional Budget Office's report, which, yeah, it does state that that could be a part to increase revenues. That was part of their
Increased
section on.
revenues.
Yeah, that was in the Congressional Budget Office's 2026 report on. Let me find it. Let me just open it so I can read it. On their options for reducing the deficit from 2025 to 2034. That's where I saw that number. They were just listing options on how to reduce the deficit. And their argument was that about $1 trillion in base closures and reallocations could maintain some amount of presence. But no one's going to realistically think that if we were to start closing bases and start doing force reduction, that would maintain our current strategic picture. Do you think that?
I do think that, and my perspective is backed up by the Pentagon itself, which has repeatedly said that we're capable of realigning these bases and closing down these bases while maintaining our current strategic presence.
And where did you find this?
Yeah, let me pull it up for you.
Okay.
Do you think that no such report exists? And if a report existed that stated what I just stated, you can see this debate?
No, I wouldn't concede the debate. I'm just not familiar with this report.
What is the issue that would prevent you from conceding the debate if I presented this information to you?
Well, just because they can say we can maintain some sort of capability doesn't affect the overall grand strategy of the United States and of deep engagement here. Because the current administration, as far as the current Pentagon, depending on the date of that report, would probably be affected by the current administration, which wants to retrench themselves from the entire world, which I mentioned in my opener that retrenchment itself is not a good strategy. It would lead to a more dangerous world.
Nobody advocated for retrenchment in this conversation. The conversation is about redirecting existing resources and reducing the amount spent on the military. If the argument is that we cannot redirect resources without maintaining at least some level of complicated or necessary grand strategy, I don't know where that is coming from. So, for example, do you think that we should spend currently, as it stands right now, as much in South America as we spend on our expenditures in the South China Sea?
So the report is saying that they're going to redirect resources that currently exist and not
No.
make.
This is a hypothetical statement for now. I don't need to go into the empirics. The conversation is about whether or not redirecting resources still permits us to have a complicated grand strategy without requiring deep retrenchment.
No one's going to disagree that redirection can be done.
Okay, so then what was the objection earlier to what I was saying, where if this maintained our current grand strategy, or at least a grand strategy updated for the future and cost us less, why wouldn't you concede the debate at that point?
Could you restate what you actually said?
Well, I'm saying what I'm actually saying right now. So would you concede based off of what I just said?
Uh, no, I wouldn't.
Okay, why not?
Because I don't believe. Let me think for a second. So your claim is that we can redirect our funds and our allocations, reducing the size and budget of of defense spending, and still maintain our current security posture.
Yes.
Okay. And where was this at?
Yeah. Let me pull it up for you. And to be clear, again, if I pull this up for you, you will concede.
I would like
Unless
to
we're
read
going
it.
to conversation's over. Okay.
I would like to read it first.
While he's reading it, Zach, would you like to elaborate on why he should concede after reading it or something?
It would depend on the
Ooh.
exact language on what they imagine as
Oh,
as
sorry. I meant
maintaining
the other person. Fuck, I'm so sorry. I thought I saw he was muted.
No, I'm
Uh,
pulling it up from.
Oh, okay. Good.
You would be concerned about the language, specifically what kinds of language?
well, I would be concerned on what they're clarifying their the exact language they're using when they determine what our good strategic picture even is. Because right now, currently, by having a wide net, we are able to have our hands with all these allies and better integrate with them to be able to see threats before they happen and be able to deter threats from growing.
Does increasing the military budget necessitate that we have increased integration with our allies?
No one here is arguing for increasing the budget right now.
Okay, so
So
wait, you're not in favor of increasing the budget. You want to keep the current Trump budget.
the current nature of the prompt is that should we be downsizing the military and or cutting the defense spending? So
Yeah,
I'm not here to.
it's current defense spending, right? Defense spending as it currently exists, not hypothetical defense spending.
Yeah, I'm not here to argue that we are increasing it. If we want to talk about the current administration, that seems a bit beyond the scope of the prompt here. So, um,
How the current administration uses resources is beyond the scope of the prompt.
yeah, I mean, we're here to argue about the higher level of having the defense sector itself. If we're going to be arguing about if we should be downsizing the defense sector, we should be arguing about whether or not the apparatus itself should exist. Just because the current administration is misusing it or using it incorrectly doesn't mean we should be downsizing it.
Okay, it feels like the goal of this conversation is just to obfuscate. And the reason why
No,
I'm
it's
saying
not.
that is because, yeah, it is because if you're going to talk about a hypothetical world where, yes, we could present a case for whatever reason, the defense spending needed to be increased, that burden of evidence is entirely on you.
No,
It's not
you're
on
the
me.
one. You're the one arguing in favor of downsizing the military and cutting the budget.
Yeah,
The
but
only one bringing up
yeah,
increasing the
of
budget
course,
is you
of
during this
course,
debate.
yeah, but the burden of evidence is not on me to justify keeping the current military budget. You have the justificatory burden. If you're going to tax and spend and do these things, and you're going to
No,
use
the
these
only one
resources for
obfuscating
this
right now is
specific
actually
purpose relative
no,
to other
excuse me.
specific purposes,
The only one
then
obfuscating
you
right now
have
is
to
you. You're the one
justify
who's
your
bring no,
expenditure. Of
no, no,
course, you
no,
have to
no, no.
justify your
No, no,
expenditure.
no, no.
I'm not going to be railroaded in this way. I'm
The
not
only
going to be
one who brought
railroaded in
up
this way.
increasing the budget was yourself. You asked me if I would want to increase the budget, which I mentioned not part of the prompt. You're the one who brought that up, and now you're trying to put that onto
Zach,
me to prove that
Zach,
we need to
Zach,
increase the budget.
I will not be railroaded in this way. When you are making the case for a public expenditure, you need to justify the public expenditure. You need to justify that the resources expended on this enterprise and the amount that is spent on this enterprise is better spent on this enterprise than any other enterprise that exists within credential limits. So yes, this is obfuscatory. This is why in the beginning of this
You're the
conversation, I specifically set out the burden of proof. The burden
you're
of
the
proof
one
is
who's
on
making
you.
the claim. You're trying to make this claim here that spending on the military is somehow substitutory for the domestic spending when they're not. If we were to look at the 2020 Jose Torres economical study, if I were to pull that up right now, A peer-reviewed study published in 2020, he found that due to an elasticity of substitution at 0.56, U.S. defense spending is complementary to U.S. civilian spending. So
Yeah, of
it's
course.
not a
Nobody denied the complementarity component, but in the same way that you would say to a person, hopefully, spend money and invest in a stock account and don't spend money on buying a home because the probability of the home appreciating is lower than the stock account. This is a bad expenditure relative to other expenditures. If you're going to deny the existence of opportunity costs, and again, switch the burden of proof from you to me, when the citizens need to have accountability and a public interest fulfilled, I don't know what to say
so
to you.
are you saying that
This is
there's no public
sophistry.
interest in national defense, or
There is a public interest in national defense, and no person who is operating in good faith in this conversation would interpret this otherwise.
well, you're the one who keeps making these claims. Again, your language and your implication here is that defense spending offers no return to the national
Nobody
public.
said that.
You're the one making the implication here. The audience and the
The
judges can make that
implication is not
determination here.
explication, so I'll be explicit here. I believe that national defense is a public good, and
Okay.
it is a good that needs to be funded. The
Okay.
question is the scale. It's
Okay.
not 0 or 50 trillion, it's what number?
Yeah, the scale currently is that it's at 2.8% of GDP, which is a 60-year low.
That's
The
not a justification.
defense
That's not a
spending as
justification.
oh, well,
It
you're the one here trying to put the burden onto me that I'm trying to say we should increase the budget, which I never stated. You're the one who put that into
No,
me.
you can keep it the exact same, and saying that it should be the exact same that it sits at right now is not a justification. You need to look at the alternative expenditures of the resource, and you also need to know whether or not this is actually aligning with our grand strategy. As it stands
Okay,
currently, it
if
fails
we
on
want to
both
have a
measures.
reduction, okay,
Clearly,
if
the
you want
Trump
to have a
administration
reduction,
doesn't spend this money and align with a grand strategy that you, I, or anybody else would agree with. And it's
okay,
not
so if you
actually
want to have a
prioritizing
reduction,
in ways that would actually align that way. And looking at an ideal system to say that this isn't the current world and then saying that this is all hypotheticals, you're shifting the burden, is railroading. You know
yeah,
this.
sure. Okay, so why don't you put forward a positive claim? What should we reduce the budget to?
We can reduce the budget by $1 trillion.
So the current defense spending, not including national security apparatus, which are not part of the defense sector, they're national
And
intelligence sectors,
even if it was
is
even if it was
$900
$1,
billion
Zach,
dollars.
even if it was $1, I would win this. It doesn't have it just has to be lower than the current amount. And clearly, right, I'm going to even go the less serious, or not the
No,
less
the
serious,
prompt.
but the
No, no,
less
no, no, no,
hardline
no, no,
claim.
no, no, no,
The less
no,
hardline
no, no,
the less
no,
hardline
no,
claim, and this is
no,
the point.
no,
The point
no,
is to put me on the
no.
defensive.
What
The
is the
point is to put me
prompt
on
of
the
this
defensive.
debate? What is
The
the
point
prompt
of
of this debate?
current US military spending, could it be reduced by $1, Zach?
It could, yes.
Should it
No
be
one's.
reduced by $1, Zach?
I don't think so. No.
Okay. Why do you feel it shouldn't be reduced by $1? Is this
No. Why don't
just
you answer my
an
question? What was the
assertion?
prompt of
Is
this
this an
debate? What is the
assertion
prompt of the
based on
debate?
I I am going to repeat what I just said
Okay, I will read the
because
prompt of the debate to you because you
please
can't
do
seem to
read the
recall it
prompt
to
of the
me.
debate to me, Zach.
Yes,
Please do.
should the US downsize the military in favor of domestic spending? So
Yeah,
how
so
much are we going
you
to
can
reduce the
downsize the
budget?
military by $1, Zach. And if I understand the prompt to mean and you understand the prompt to mean that we can reduce military expenditures and pivot towards domestic spending, it has two components. One is you need to justify the current military expenditure, and if $1 in that entire system, this is why it's insane that you accepted this. $1 in that entire system could be better allocated to other things. It's over. I don't
Yeah,
know why you would
no one's
accept
going to
this.
sit here and realistically argue over a dollar. Okay, I won't do that. I'm not going to do that. Okay, if you
Okay,
want to sit
this
here and claim your win
conversation's over.
because I can
Conversation's
admit
over.
that we can reduce the spending by $1, that's fine. But if I wanted to actually engage with the prompt in good faith,
Well, I'm gonna
the
engage with
point
the
of the
prompt as
prompt,
I
the
understood
point
it,
of the
and
prompt,
anybody else
the
would
point of
understand
the
it, which
prompt,
is
the point of the
reducing the
prompt.
amount.
I'm going to keep going until you stop interrupting me. The point of the prompt is, should we meaningfully reduce the military budget in order to focus it on domestic spending, which would mean we would need to make a meaningful cut, which would in turn meaningfully impact our defensive capabilities. Do you agree with that?
I'm sorry, I wasn't listening to what you're saying. Can you repeat it?
Oh, okay. Okay, if you're not going to be listening to me, I don't see why we should continue with this.
Okay, you can leave.
Okay, fine. All right, I thought better of you, Auntie.
Wow, interesting. Listen, Zach, come on back up, friend. You didn't have to leave. Like, that's literally conceding. Don't do that. Come on.
He's
I
trolling.
mean, I throw it to the judges. See what they think.
100% trolling.
Oh,
I'm sorry. I'm like looking at side chat and also like, wow, this is okay. Well, this
Is
is
he in
this
chat?
is a
Is he-
debate night
where is he?
first. Brother, Zach.
Is someone chat? Did you join back? Fuck. I'm scanning the names.
Oh wow, did he leave?
His connection is bad. Honest Paul is soy diving
Oh my
for
gosh.
a explanation.
Wow. Well, we have 17 minutes. Let me pause
Oh,
the
he's
clock.
back. There we go.
Yeah,
Only
come
because
on,
Paul
man.
wants me to.
Oh,
All right, you weren't listening to me. You can make your point.
he needed a second. I understand.
What? I'm sorry. Could you
Oh my
read your
God.
point?
Yes, what your point was.
I'm gonna say a slur. I'm.
Yeah, you are.
Okay,
You are.
well,
You
we're
are.
gonna.
Oh my-
You know, if you need 5 minutes, we can let Auntie talk for just 5 minutes. If you want to just come
You know,
off.
sometimes
Yeah,
it's
go, Auntie.
best to take a breather. How was your
The
day other than
difficulty is that I
this?
don't know if Zach is trolling or if he's genuinely upset.
I'm leaning towards that, but yeah, he said you could go. So, yeah, give your side.
My side of what? Our personal relationship?
Or no.
The joys of life?
Oh my God.
Listen, I feel, okay, this is an I feel statement, Zach. I feel that you are trolling.
Okay, you can feel that.
Okay. And I believe genuinely that this prompt, if taken seriously and using the language here, means any reduction in military spending is a win for my side. Now,
For you, yeah. I don't
if
know
we have
anyone who
a
seriously thinks
mutual
that.
understanding as to what that means,
Yeah,
then
I don't know who anyone who's going to realistically think that when the spirit of the
you
prompt
can
is that
say
we're going to focus.
anyone who
The
realistically.
goal
Well,
is
I'm
focusing
saying
on
my
domestic
account.
spending.
Yeah, I'm
So,
saying
Auntie,
my
how much
account.
of global
I'm
trade
saying
goes through the ocean?
Yeah. That's a nice trick. I said you said
It's
nobody
90%. 90%
realistically
of
could
global trade goes
understand
to the
that, and that
ocean.
was my
And
account.
post
So do you
Bretton
think that
Woods,
I
thanks to
didn't
the United
realistically
States in World War
understand that to
II,
mean that?
we promised the nations of the world we'd guarantee their shipping trade, because during Bretton Woods, after World War II was closing down, because we were going to win, we just didn't know how long we were going to win. We wanted to
Do
have
shipping lanes have
control over.
anything to do with military expenditures in Iran right now?
Yes, we're not talking about Iran right now. If we want to talk about
Oh,
Iran right now, we
the
can talk
point is
about the
that they
impacts
do have
of a
something to do
weak
with
U.S.
Iran right now, and
Navy.
that's
We
why
can
I would
talk
be
about how a
okay with the
weak
maintenance
U.S.
of those
Navy
shipping lanes.
has
Curious.
doubled the
But would
insurance
I be
costs of
okay with the
shipping,
same military
which has
expenditures
increased.
elsewhere?
No, we can talk about how a weak U.S. Navy right now, which the shipbuilding
A
capabilities
weak
is.
U.S. Navy?
Yes, a weak U.S. Navy. We have a weak U.S. Navy right now. We've tried 3 times to replace the Arleigh Burke. There's political issues with that. Our storages of munitions are low because we don't have the production capability to do so. We have 2 major shipyards to produce ships. The Congressional Auditing or Accountability Office found that the issues with the U.S. shipyards is because they don't have the infrastructure to expand out and increase production, which would need investment. So we can't cut the budget for that. 90% of global trade is done through the
Why
ocean,
do
which
you
is
say that
guaranteed
we
by
need
the
to
U.S.
increase
Navy.
the budget in order to reinvest? This is a misstatement at best. So can you
Okay,
please
even if we
explain to me
don't
how
increase
you
the
can't
budget, if we find
reallocate
inefficiencies,
resources?
sure. And none of that would require cutting the budget. Sure, we can do that too.
Yeah,
Or we can
we could
increase
do that
efficiency.
too, and
We can do
then
audits, and we can
yeah, we can
do
do audits, we can
reorganizations.
do
There's
increased
nothing wrong with
efficiency.
reorganizations as long as
Do
we're
you think
not.
that the increased efficiency will in some way lead to us needing to spend less on this
No, because we should be
thing?
investing outward, especially with the Navy. The Navy takes a long
No.
time to increase. Yes, it does. How long do you think it takes to build, say, an Arleigh Burke destroyer?
I'm sorry, you didn't respond to what I just said. So
Oh, well, you don't
would you
respond to
like me to
anything I'm
repeat what I
saying, and you're not listening to me, so I don't think I have to.
Well, I mean, we can have that conversation about our listening skills, but
No,
if
I
we
don't
want to
want
have
to
a
go meta. We're
conversation about
not
our
in.
listening
Well, I mean,
skills
we
and
are
have
in
a pouty
DGG. I was about to
contest,
say
then we
we're
can
not
have
in
a
a
pouty
DGG
contest. I
lobby,
don't know
but
what
we are.
what we're doing
I
here.
mean, you've been talking over me this entire time, so I'm just going to do it too. I'm just going to match
Yeah,
your energy.
good. Do it.
Yeah.
Try to mock me.
Yeah, I'm going to make out with you after this, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah, we will. We will
Um,
kiss.
yeah. We'll kiss on cam for everybody, especially Goosey, who will be banned after this. Um,
Zach, in all seriousness,
uh-huh.
is there any piece of information or evidence that could dislodge you from your current position?
Well, since you wanted to play this as a game, no.
Okay. Would you like me to present what would change my
Well,
mind?
I still haven't found that report that you were going to give me about from the Pentagon, so I was waiting for that.
Well, we were circling back, but then you left.
No, you first said you weren't listening to me. That's why I left.
Well, no, you
Let's get
left,
the
and then
record straight on
we
that.
had a
Let's get the
conversation
record
about why
straight
you
on
left.
that. If you're the one making the claims of obfuscation, which you're truly clearly obfuscating right now. So
I'm not obfuscating from anything.
sure you are. Yeah.
Is there anything that would change your mind?
I've already answered that question.
No, you haven't actually.
You
You said
literally
that
just asked me that question.
because you just said that even if it were to be demonstrated that we could cut this, well, it doesn't mean that we need to cut it because we just need to actually expand it.
No,
We need
you
to
said if
reallocate
we
the
could
resources
show
to
that we
other
could
portions of
reallocate
the.
resources. I said yes to that. Yes.
Yeah, but you said a reallocation is not a cut, and you said that if we reallocate these resources, you haven't justified where we would reallocate these resources.
Well, I would
Again,
prefer
like
to
the
reallocate
burden
to
would be on
weapons
the person who
procurement.
is taking the money, the public money, and spending the public money. So
Yes, which is done by Congress. I mean, Congress is the one that makes the discretionary budget by choosing what to do with the deficit. So, I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, if we're going to talk about responsibility, I mean, if we want to talk about the current administration, we could say that all this problem is just because they continuously deficit spend, which again doesn't lead to why we should cut the military. Especially seeing as we're having munitions problems with THAADs not being available or other ballistic missile interceptors, which are expensive and time consuming to produce, which we need if we're going to maintain our global commitments. I don't know if you want to maintain our
I don't
global
want to maintain
commitments.
all of our global commitments, but we can talk about
Why do you not
agreeing
want to
to
maintain our
separation.
global commitments?
All of our global commitments? Nice catch.
Sure.
Yeah,
Do you want to
all of
maintain
them.
any of them?
Yeah, I'd like to have
Which
presence in
ones?
the South China Sea. I think that sending an aid package to Ukraine was pretty nice. There's a lot of things that the U.S. government and military does. You want to maintain all of our commitments, even the commitments that the DoD and other entities have said we don't need to commit to, hence BRAC.
Have you linked that to me yet?
Okay.
Uh,
Do you want to list out all the bases that have been designated for BRAC?
sure. You still haven't given me that Pentagon document you said you were going to give me, but sure.
Okay. You gonna read it?
Yeah, I've been waiting for it.
Yeah.
So you think just a presence in the South China Sea, and then the aid to Ukraine? That
I
was
can
that was it.
two things at once, buddy, while my computer's freezing.
Oh, that sucks. Thought you
It's
could afford a
hard.
better one.
I can't, dude. All my tax money's going to this military.
It's actually going to Medicaid and
It
Social
is also
Security.
going to Medicaid and Social Security. That's true.
That's where the bulk of it
It-
goes.
yeah.
2.8% of GDP, by the way. So 60-year low, by the way. I'll also add that the MIC gives us about $300 billion in revenue as well, with that, as well as 40 million jobs of dependent upon global trade guaranteed
Yeah,
by the U.S. Navy.
okay. We can go to the jobs question.
Sure, if you want.
Yeah, sure, if you want. How much money is spent for every 5 jobs created?
I believe you said $1 million.
5, yeah. How much in education?
I
How much
don't
in
recall that
healthcare?
number. Don't recall that number.
Yeah. Healthcare, it's like I think 9. Education, I think it's like 13.
Okay, and just because those make more doesn't mean that those military jobs mean less. I don't see where that goes
Well,
there.
it absolutely does mean it is the point of the entire thing. I don't know why you're saying that. If you have money, you want to spend that money effectively. And if you want to
Well,
reallocate it, then you should
that
reallocate to the
depends
most
on what we
effective use.
consider.
That
That
doesn't mean that
depends on
there's
what we
no
consider as
marginal
more.
ad, but it means that there's diminishing marginal utility associated with public expenditures. Do you not
Yeah,
agree
but
with that?
not everything is about economic output. You agree with
Oh,
that,
not
right?
everything's about economic output.
Yeah, is that true or false?
Yeah. So again, what's the justification for the current budget versus $50
Justification for,
trillion versus $100 trillion versus $1 million trillion?
oh, we couldn't
A
afford those.
billion trillions?
We couldn't afford those. um, if we could afford it, I would expand it. I mean, I don't see what we need here is an investment into our global security, and more money invested into it would mean better systems, better capability, and more security. I don't see the issue here. So, like when firms invest into IT infrastructure, security infrastructure, those are less productive than investing into more sales rep. Do you agree to that?
I agree to what exactly?
So
That there's a
if a corporation invests into IT infrastructure or security infrastructure, it's less productive economically than if they were to invest into more sales or a better product.
Yeah, it's an even well, no, yes and no, right? Obviously, fundamental
Because
property
the
rights concerns are at play here, and you have to ensure that security is maintained. But security is not a good that
because
needs,
the,
or
the
security is
security
a
is
good that needs to be justified, just like any other thing that you're doing in your life. For
yeah,
example, like
doesn't need to be justified
yeah,
either.
well, defense needs to be justified in the same way that it would make sense for you to justify why you don't drive a car if you believe that driving a car is going to like increase or decrease the amount of accidents you're in, given the huge economic benefits, right? You live in a world where you have to be conscientious about security, but there are other goods that matter. And again, the burden is on spending the money on the security measure relative to all the other things that we can be spending the money on. So I don't know why this
Mhm.
is relevant.
Well, you have to make you're the one making the argument here that there's the other things that have just an economic value add as opposed to the value add from provided by national security and defense. Again, national defense has a value add. Again, 90% of
Strong
global trade
economy
goes
isn't a
through the
value add.
ocean. These aren't mutually
Is
exclusive.
not. Yeah.
You can have a strong economy with a strong military and defense without having to cut it. In fact, in that Torres study I mentioned,
There
it
were no
was found.
cuts.
In
What is
fact,
the
in the
cut?
Torres study I mentioned, the stronger the economy grows, the stronger the demand for defense spending actually grows. I believe the term is countercyclical. Actually, no, it's procyclical. I got to
It's
look at it. Actually, I don't.
pro-cyclical. Yeah.
I had to learn these terms, and I hate it. Thank you, Auntie, by the way.
It's pro-cyclical.
Yeah. The dollar amounts are pro-cyclical, but a percentage of GDP is countercyclical.
Yes, because strong economies aren't able to necessarily maintain their current budgetary
5 minutes.
expenditures, and therefore
Now
they
we're getting
cut.
econ. We're going to bore everybody. Actually,
But
I'm sorry.
yeah,
I regret bringing that up. That's my bad.
yeah. Well, you can bore people who you like to, because the boring part is the details there, Saki boy.
Dude, I had to read like 4 studies, and I hate you. Okay. Okay, if we're gonna drop the kayfabe, and I hated this. Reading these, I had to stop and Google terms like every 5 seconds because I don't know any of these terms. And then I got to the formulas. I wanted to put a bullet in my head.
Because of the military defense expenditures, or because of just like the econ associated with like defense expenditures?
Well, because they can't agree on. I don't want to. Okay, never mind. I'm getting baited. I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after. I'll talk to you after why I hated doing this
Okay.
research.
Yeah,
But
after we're done with this conversation that we're having.
yes, yeah, I'll talk to you after why I hated doing this.
Okay.
I forgot where I was going. You can go now. It's your turn.
I feel like I'm America and I just got Tet offensive.
That's a deep
You
cut.
know what I mean? Like it's not an actual loss, but it's like a loss in terms of the psyche to continue the war. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, listen, I'm kind of done too. uh, but fuck, I don't have to worry again.
I feel so bad for Sophie and Retro right now. I
Just
actually
one.
do.
If
That's
both of them be like, hey, we're
okay.
gonna
You're
concede
actually
in the last 3
insane.
minutes and just move on. I guess we can.
I
It's never
mean,
happened before, but sure.
true. Oh my gosh. Do you want to move on to final statements, or how are you guys feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I guess like opening statements. If you both want to just like concede the fucking time, I guess.
Sure.
I'll do my final statement.
Yeah,
Well, no,
I'm down
we'll
with
do
that.
we'll do that.
I'm
Yeah.
kind of
But
exhausted.
yeah.
Aw.
Oh my
All right,
gosh.
who's going
Yeah.
first?
Well,
I'll
I think
start
we started. Wait,
out
no, we
of
started with. Hold. We started with Auntie, I believe. So we'll end with, or yeah, we'll end first with Auntie. Your 2 minutes ending starts now.
wait, me or Zach.
Auntie.
Wait, who started?
Okay.
Auntie.
I'd like to share my love and appreciation for a fellow American, a person who's fighting on the front lines against the Trump administration and ensuring that we are able to continue to enjoy the liberties that we have fought, bled, and in some cases our ancestors died for to obtain. And that is Zach. Okay. Zach is a great guy. He is the best guy ever. All of the things that we're doing right now, where we're arguing with each other and he's doing maybe a bit, maybe a not bit, where he's leaving the conversation. Really, really, what I like to say is we need more Zachs in the world. Goosey's happy to have him. Sophie and Retro, thank you for this conversation. It didn't turn out the way that I'd hoped it would for obvious reasons. Hopefully, future discussions will be a little bit more serious and a little less trolly. One of the things that I am really worried about is the decline of American liberalism, and there is a possibility for people who are operating within the liberal tradition to work in coalition with one another. There are going to be active disagreements. One of those active disagreements is going to be at the level to which we spend on the American military, with people being a little bit more hawkish or a little bit more dovish, depending on a particular campaign or theater or country or region. But at the end of the day, I know Zach really cares. And next year, he is going to solely finance
30
the United
seconds.
States to liberate the great people of China from their oppressors. And if there are any Chinese spies listening, that's what Zach wants. Okay, that's what he wants. Thank you.
Right. 2 minute closing statement.
Right.
Zach. Wait for it. Time starts now.
That's a dirty, dirty trick in the final hour there. Doing the I can't even think right now. I'm not even gonna talk about the fucking debate. I was actually a little mad there, Auntie. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, it was kind of a bit. I thought it was funny after I did it, and then I saw people freaking out, so that's why I joined back because that was kind of funny. But yeah, Auntie is a good guy. He's an economist, and I think I can't say that.
His
I really
social
hated
security
studying for
number.
this. I really
Go ahead.
hate that our current administration makes it more difficult to defend this position, just because they're so retarded. But yeah, Auntie never did respond to the fact that 90% of global trade goes to the oceans. It's guaranteed by the United States Navy since Bretton Woods. 40 million jobs created by global trade. NATO's most powerful alliance in history. The United States being in control of that is necessarily in our favor. Being able to have a strong defensive bulwark against aggressor nations, which would allow us to better focus our resources against the real rising threat, which would be China. And to do that, we would need a higher budget or a more focused budget to focus on naval shipbuilding. And I'll finish there.
All right. We will be sending it over to our judges and chat to vote who did better. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah.
That was the most like highs and lows of a debate night I've ever been a part of. That was fucking great. That was
That
cinema
was
right there.
wow.
Oh shit.
It was like peak drama. Like what?
I don't even know how to feel. There were so many twists and turns. I don't know what's
Yeah. Like yeah.
So,
Let me get
yeah,
let me get this
yeah.
poll up. I don't know. Like I'm very pleased with what happened because it was interesting, but I also don't
Mhm.
really know if we're better for it. Polls up in the chat, friends. Who won? Anti or Zach? Let's see. Retro, what's your post mortem?
I don't know anymore. I don't know what's real. Mossad got to me. I don't like. Woo!
Oh my
Ooh,
word.
okay. That was some good shit.
That's all right.
Right.
While we're in between times,
Check register your
be
vote.
sure you yes. Be sure you vote, but also be sure you are registered to vote in real life.
True.
So,
True.
yeah, let me make sure I get that link back up so I can point you guys in the right direction. Okay, https://
All I gotta say is both our debaters, you guys put on a fucking wonderful performance. I don't know what's real anymore. Okay, am I in the Matrix? Is there a
Yeah, this
Matrix? I don't
performance was
know.
brought to you by a RPG, PvP, PvE experience like
True.
no other. If you want over 1,000 champions to choose from and experience a story filled with twists and turns, highs and lows, you can play Raid Shadow Legends today. Enter code ZAC or Skunkworks to be able to get a free Tomahawk Cruise missile today.
Real shit. Paid by the U.S. military.
Nice.
Ooh.
Is that the kind of ads that you guys used to have?
You don't get those? Dude, Raid is fucking all over everyone's feed. I don't fucking know. It's crazy.
No.
Got Raid, you got BetterHelp, you got fuck. Blue Chew. Fuck. What else is there? Gold. You should buy gold. I guess
Gold,
it's not
yeah.
ads. It's fucking, what is it called when creator does it? That shit.
True. But I mean, like I tend not too much anymore, but I used to hang out very heavily in the sort of right-wing spaces like Rumble and True Social and Gab. Oh my God. And that's like all you saw was just gold and supplements and fucking special banks and Bitcoin and the world is ending prepper
I don't know
shit.
what's up with
Just
gold.
crazy.
Okay. I don't get it.
That's wild. Well, I don't know if we
Oh, dude, honey? Dude, I didn't know how to feel about honey. I'm like, how do they make money of like finding shit? And then that shit coming out where they were fucking cucking the goddamn YouTubers that were by stealing their goddamn codes and putting in honey instead. Holy shit, dude. That was wild.
Wait,
I use
what?
Honey. It never saved me shit.
Okay, honey. Honey, it was like this app. It was like this not app. What, like on your
Oh, it
the
was like I know
browser.
what it
It's
is.
an extension. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they had YouTubers do promotions for it. Those same YouTubers that like you know enter my code or whatever to get this thing. Honey would, if you were using the Honey extension, it would take out their promo code and put in Honey's promo code
Oh, that's so
from them.
crazy.
It was fucking wild. Holy
Oh
shit.
no.
All right.
That's messed up.
All right. Let's call it there for the chat. Vote
All
chat.
right, I'll go ahead and
Chat vote.
reveal the winner. It's gonna be a close one, I'm sure. I'm seeing some screenshots. We got 36 votes. Do you think we can get to 40, friends?
Oh, 40.
Scroll up a bit.
57 people. Okay, to be honest,
Come
I don't
on, we
vote,
can do
okay,
this.
because I feel attacked.
36. We can. Do I see 37? It hasn't budged.
37,
Okay,
37.
I'm gonna call it. Well, 37. Okay, 37. All right, I'll go ahead and end it. 38. All right, last chance. All right, that's it. I'm gonna go ahead and call it. Here we go. All right. So, wow. Okay. 50-50. 19
Jesus, what
votes
the
for
fuck, chat?
anti.
God damn.
19 votes for Zach. Good Lord. I mean, we knew it was going to be close. We knew it was going to be close. That is wild.
I would like to say for our two debaters, I think, from that chat vote. This split many of people, and I will say, reading through the judges' like reasons for decision, a lot of them were very heavily split and did not know how to feel. They're very,
Yeah.
ooh,
Wow.
whew,
What are we if not feeling beings, you know?
yeah.
We are balls of
True.
emotion.
Um,
Facts.
yeah.
We are living gods.
Yeah, true.
As superior mathematician, oh fuck, what was his name?
Can you go back to your earlier comment, Zach, about wanting to call me a slur at a certain point? I loved
No, I didn't. I didn't say I wanted
Let's
to call you.
revisit that. Okay, not gonna lie. Halfway through, I'm like, are we in group therapy? Are we like couple therapy? Like, should I ask guys? Like, we're using I feel statements. I'm like, what is going on?
Yeah.
Of
No, I
course.
said
Was there
I was
active
gonna.
listening involved?
I said I
I
was
need
gonna
to
say a
change our
slur.
tax. Yeah, I need to change our tax.
All right.
You need to not.
Gosh.
You need to be less accusatory and more, you know. Hey, like, how's it going, buddy? Why do you feel that
Mhm.
way?
No, you just don't acknowledge my feelings whenever I'm talking. So
Oh, okay. Well, you guys can get to that afterwards.
What's the reason why you have that belief?
Okay.
Oh,
Well,
where'd you
you
get
guys
this
can
term
talk about
from?
that
Your
afterwards.
friend?
What did your mother
bet
do
your
to
friend.
you in
Oh,
childhood?
no, Sophie, don't encourage them, Sophie.
Hey,
No,
yo.
don't encourage
Whoa,
this.
whoa, whoa, whoa,
I'm trying to move
whoa,
on. I'll mute you guys. What the fuck?
That
All right.
sounds like your mother.
Tooth was
It's not as bad
insane.
as what your mother did to me last night, but okay. Anyway, let's
So,
go.
with a split vote, with the chat vote, however, we have 3 votes for the judges going towards Zach. They were all
what?
very split, but Zach, you beat
Huh? What?
out. You won. All 3.
Huh?
Wow.
Yes. And
Wow.
with the side chat, like fucking 50-50. I don't even, half one
All
there
right,
too.
Victorial.
Holy shit.
Not to say that you didn't put up a wonderful effort, Anti. Like that was really amazing. And
No, it wasn't.
yeah,
Stop.
Skunkworks wins again, boys.
Holy shit. All right. You two go find some VC to talk your feelings out, because holy shit, you guys you need to unpack some shit. I don't know. But yeah. That's all
but
for
yeah,
tonight.
thanks guys.
On to our next debate.
Remember to play the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy XIV, which is a free trial up to level 80
what's
with the
your-
first
what's
3
your code?
expansions: Heaven's Ward, Stormblood, and what's it called? Shadowbringers.
Do you actually play the game? I'm so curious now. Like you've been
I stopped playing
it
it.
so hard.
I stopped playing Final Fantasy and Endwalker.
Okay. All right.
Raid Shadow Legends sucks.
Oh, true. Real shit. All right.
Oh, okay.
How
Thank
can
you
he
two for
slap?
coming. All right. On to our next
All right.
debate. This one. Should the U.S. withdraw from Iran? We have Casual and Yosef. Raise your hands. Come to the stage.
Come to us.
Come. Well, there's
Let's
Casual.
see. All right. I'm gonna post that in the chat so we can keep track of everything.
Where the fuck?
Can we get like the crypto wallets of like all the judges from that last round just to be 100% sure?
Holy shit,
Uh,
true.
Monies were not
Real shit.
exchanged.
I don't think monies go through crypto wallets actually. Now that you think about that, don't know. I am curious what like the breeder squad is though. That's like an interesting subtitle for that guy Royal.
Oh my god. What the fuck? Okay. Did I mess up? What the fuck? Whatever.
What's up?
This is the correct two
Oh,
people,
Azrael.
correct?
Yosef is Azrael.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
I was tweaking. I'm like,
Don't do
I don't know
that.
if I was going crazy. Okay, after the last debate, I don't know what's real. Okay,
No, I just changed my
alright.
name like right this second.
just to
It's
fuck with me.
okay.
I see how it is.
I know that
Okay.
face. I know that face
Alright.
anywhere.
I know it was like the fucking Chad Todd Howard. All right. Our second topic for tonight is: should the U.S. withdraw from Iran? We'll start with Casual. That has the yes, and Yosef on the no. So Casual, your 2 minutes. You ready? Or are you ready?
Yep.
All right, your 2 minutes. Oh, Sophie, there we go.
Yep.
All right, 2 minutes
Okay,
starts now.
There we go.
Okay, let me tell you what this debate is not going to be about. It is not going to be about whether the Iran regime is good or evil. It isn't. It is not about whether we sympathize with the Iranian people. We all do. It is not about whether America should project strength in the world. We should. This debate is about one question and one question only. Is continued engagement in Iran advancing American national interests? Not Democratic interests, not Republican interests, American interests. And when you look at the ledger, without the fog of any ideology, the answer is unambiguous. We have spent hundreds of billions of dollars. We have drawn down munition stockpiles we need for the defense of Taiwan. We have handed Iran indefinite control of the Strait of Hormuz and the revenues that come with it. We have driven up global energy prices, and we have not extracted a single meaningful concession. My opponent today can take this in a bunch of different directions, but I would just ask that we stick to one question throughout this debate. Towards what end? What does victory look like, and what does the path to get there cost? Because I will argue that the only two roads forward are an unwinnable escalation or an indefinite stalemate, and so we must pursue a third option that I will argue for the whole time, is that we just walk away. Thank you.
All right.
Cadence, entirely intentional, chat.
Didn't even have to give the 30-second warning. Throwing it over to Yosef or Ezreal. Your 2 minutes starts now.
All right. The reason why as I agree with my opponent that this debate with what this debate is or isn't about, but I think there's also a point that this debate is not about also whether or not starting the war was good. Now that the war is engaged, regardless of who started it, I think there are a few key points which lead us to a position where we really cannot withdraw from this conflict until Iran comes to the negotiating table by itself in order to negotiate an end to this war. The few core points are: we must maintain commitment to our allies. If we just withdraw immediately right now, what does that exactly look like? Does that mean we stay in our bases in Qatar and the Emirates? Iran certainly will think that that's a threat and will continue to attack us in these positions, even if we cease to attack Iran. So does that mean just withdrawing from the entire Gulf, the Persian Gulf region? I do not think that is a good idea. Another reason we should continue to strike Iran, and strike deeper into Iran even, is to destroy Iranian drone and missile sites as a form of deterrence and resolve. We cannot let Iran continue use this war as a justification to build up more and more of its resources to be able to control more and more of its military power to control the Gulf region better. Now, while the deposition of the mullah regime is not been in the sightlines for this conflict, I think that continued pressure on the Iranian regime will continue to lead the regime to be more and more unpopular as it spends more and more of its resources on this war. More and more people will have a more difficult time in these trying times. And I think the thing that my opponent think is one of the most critical things that is just they forgets about if we just withdraw from this conflict immediately, is that it will effectively end the open waters policy that the United States has resolutely defended over the past few decades. What it will also effectively lead to is countries can understand that if they just hold it out for a little bit against the United States, they can control the waters and demand piracy from other people.
That is
All right.
time.
Time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now into our open discussion.
All right. Yeah. One of the most critical aspects of maintaining the global order is to is to have open oceans of waters. As this war has progressed, Iran has feel compelled and feels emboldened to lock up the Strait of Hormuz, expand its mining operations, and not mining as in mining for minerals in the ground, but mining as in mining the oceans. That has created massive danger to basically all industry and almost all industry, including agriculture, including high-end electronics, due to the fertilizer and helium that is extracted from the Gulf region. As a result, we must maintain our resolve engagement in this conflict. Now, does that look like boots on the ground invading Iran to depose the regime? I do not think that would be. I think that would be ill-advised. I think that would not be to our best interest. But what would be to our best interest is to continue to attack and destroy Iranian missile sites and drone factories. I feel like that is borderline indefensible. No, the thing is, it's hard to defend not doing that, and it's hard to defend just withdrawing entirely all U.S. forces from the Gulf region. Yeah, I don't see how that is possible in this current moment.
Yep, I mostly agree with all of that. I think invasion of Iran, which is the logical step, like you would have to take the escalation to in order to effectuate any policy change, would basically turn into like a multi-year long invasion of Iraq, and that's not even counting the insurgency that would follow for several years onwards. Count in the complication of like drone warfare and modern war, and I think you just become like an unwinnable, like escalating further up that chain doesn't actually put the United States in a better position. It just increases our costs without actually getting us anything back for that commitment. As for like showing resolve, I think you found that like the harm's already been done. You're right. We're not going to go back and litigate the events of the past like 3 months here because it's just completely indefensible, and I think you agree mostly on that principle. But you're in this position in this debate where you have to argue that like we have to remain almost either in standby or we have to escalate up in order to hopefully effectuate some policy change. That said, like there's no one left to get that just from standing by and waiting. We can't play that game. Currently, we have rising costs over all our fuel. We have a global energy shortage that is rapidly approaching. There's only so much we can do with costs adjustments and stockpiles that we built up months prior to the war, draining our strategic reserves in order to calm global markets. There's only so much like the combined Western democracy of the world can do, and we're kind of tapping ourselves out. So this needs to end somehow, kind of quick. And the simplest way you can do that, the most effective way you can do that, is just by disengaging from Iran. And that doesn't necessarily have to be that you walk away without any concessions, but we know what the sticking point is for the current negotiations. It's the
Yeah,
nuclearization of Iran. Trump, for whatever reason, just refused to give on this one point about their nuclearization. He wants an indefinite promise that they're
so to be
never going to do
clear,
that. And to him,
so
a
to be clear,
promise
this
like that
is
doesn't
not a debate
matter,
about
but like for global politics, that is a meaningful commitment for Iran to do that, right? Like you
So
acknowledge
to be
that.
clear, this isn't a pulse. This isn't a debate about exactly Iran's nuclear policy. It's a debate about whether or not America should continue to engage in the conflict at Iran. And the way I would define that is basically on the status quo of currently American engagement in the war, which is strikes against Iranian positions within Iran and attacking Iranian militants militancy either from mining operations or from terrorist operations. And in those circumstances, I don't see any way that the United States could quote unquote pull out of this.
So that's why
this thing.
we're like that's why our current like policy position right now from like the US government's perspective is to like bomb bridges and bomb girls' schools, is because like those are like fighting positions that the Iranians are going to like fight for come like the upcoming invasion, right?
Regardless of whether or not the United States engages in an invasion or not, the core problem that with your argument is that if we just disengage, then all of these problems that you have led to would just magically resolve themselves, and that just simply is not the case. Oil prices will probably remain
I'm going to
high,
be
and
honest. One of the problems that
Iran
I'm
will
like
probably
personally
continue
very like
to
angry
attempt
about
to
is the
stranglehold
depletion
the
of our
Gulf
munition
region. So
stockpile, because regardless of what I heard about the girls' school and how that like was Israeli intelligence that led to like 200 girls dying, I actually am more mad about the cost of that Tomahawk missile that like we spent to do that. It's like that's like $1 billion. It's like some of our only stockpiles of like sea-launched cruise ballistic missiles, and we spent it on a fucking girls' school that had no strategic purpose for the overall war effort. And like that is a missile that we would use for Taiwan. All the Republicans that were bitching and complaining about all the material aid we were sending to Ukraine, all of that was just like ground launched, like nothing that had to do with like an actual like war posture for deterring China. But now we're using all those stockpiles to go after Iran, and we're not even succeeding in like effectuating any policy goal. We're not deterring Iran from launching missiles back at like fuel refineries all across the Gulf, at our military bases. Like they lied about how many people that got wounded at our bases, upwards
okay,
of
again,
like
this war is not
like
exactly
3, right?
necessarily about like
Like
all the things that you don't like about what happened in the war. This is a question about what we should do as a policy
right, but like
platform for the
that's like
future.
a given. That's like a given that we're going to continue this like war posture ad infinitum, right? Like because we have to like you have to just accept some of that responsibility. My position, the weakest argument is that like okay, we will have to like walk away, probably with not everything we wanted, probably with some loss of face with the world. I'm willing to
Probably
eat that
with
on the
nothing,
chin, so
actually,
long
and
as like
most likely a worse
prob-
situation. So like you would be not
so
be
as
walking away
opposed
with,
to
back to the status quo.
as opposed to like nothing, but then we also like spend billions of dollars on this war into the future. We're eating the global cost of the war with consumers as well. We're not even raising additional taxes to finance the war, so that's like compounding interest on our national debt, like into the
Again,
future.
let's just I'm just going to try to focus again on what exactly the question of the debate is. The question of the debate is not about, all of the it's not about whether or not the war was
Should
started
we
for the right
continue the
reasons,
war? And
or
I think
whether
the
or not
cost
it
of the
was
war is pretty relevant to that conversation. Yeah.
whether or not Iran is a good or bad regime. The question, first and foremost, is the fact that, are we in a better strategic position if we withdraw from Iran, from the Iranian conflict, or if we maintain ourselves in the Iranian conflict? And
Well,
under the circumstances that I've laid out
factor. Like
before,
I think
the United States would be in a much not just the United States, but the entire Gulf region would be in a much worse position. If the United States, for example, just said, okay, we're going to stop striking Iran, and Iran continued to attack us and continue to attack its bases and allies, how would that exactly work for our allies? A lot of allies might look at that and say, yeah, actually, this you having a base here in, Bahrain or Qatar in my country, this isn't really working out for us. So, why don't you just leave? And suddenly now your longtime standing allies suddenly want you to leave, and suddenly maybe they're more influenced by, for example, the burgeoning alliance between Turkey, Pakistan, and Saudi Arabia. This is a growing alliance
I want to
that
like
will basically
confront
shut
these
America out
issues
of this
like head
region.
on.
So the United States has
Like
to
when
maintain a strong presence in this region, and just withdrawing from
you're
the region
totally right.
will cede
Can
ourselves to an
can we
Islamic
confront like just
alliance.
one of these material issues? Because when you say strategic posture, that is like comprised of a bunch of things that we can consider like relevant to like the United States' strategic position in the world. Would you say that our supply of interceptors and like that is an important piece of America's like military readiness to deter China, to deter Russia, to provide material aid to our allies? Like that supply is really important. In the conduct of this war so far, how much of an expenditure do you think would be like reasonable for this pace of fighting that we've been in? Like just throw out a
I think
number
it's
right now.
important,
And
like,
I
it's
want
not
to make sure we're
necessarily
like
a,
in the
a
same
fixed
reality.
number, but in a percentage amount. So, in my
So
opinion,
would you be okay if like 100% of
you
the
can
stockpile got depleted over the course of the war, like so far?
we can walk
Like
and chew
80,
bubblegum at the
like
same time, in my
70?
opinion. So, like, for example, we can continue
So
to
that
work
would
with
require us to
Taiwan to defend
like secure
Taiwan, and
contracts with
also we can
military
continue to
contractors.
prosecute this
That would
war.
require them to like create these like new munitions for us to resupply. Like like you could say we could walk and chew gum at the same time, but like if we did deplete our supplies, that means we have to refill them with taxpayer dollars that we're not raising with additional taxes. That means we're just taking out more debt for it. Like there is like material costs that like this current administration has not contended with. Regardless of what you think, like you're feeling at the pump, the administration has not passed on the true costs of the war to the American public, just like Bush did with the Iraq War, just like Bush did with Afghanistan, just like Reagan did with Panama, or H.W. Bush did with Panama, and then Reagan did with like all his other escapades. Like the Republicans, whenever they do a war like this, they always leave like the cost to the Democratic administration that follows. They just rack up the debt and then pushes it on to the next administration.
Yeah, so this is again some party
like
politics, some inter-party
the
politics, and that
financial
is again
cost.
not pertinent to the exactly discussion about Iran. I'm sorry, I need to keep getting you back on track, but like this is about like geopolitical position about the United States. And so if we're advising, whoever's the president, for example, let's just say, tomorrow, for whatever reason, everyone in the administration dies, and suddenly it's President AOC, who's suddenly, in the White House. What would be advising on it? And the thing that you would have to be advising on the situation is, regardless of whoever decided to get us into this mess, that we're in the woods now, and you can't just say, well, I quit. The glass, the toothpaste is out of the tube, so to speak, and you have to work with that the way that it is. Regardless of all the costs that is paid for, then the answer to that is essentially that if we have multiple strategic vulnerabilities, then we should increase our military revenues to a point that those strategic vulnerabilities are no longer vulnerable. So since in this war that we have depleted largely our stockpiles of high-end missiles, then we should increase our military expenditures
You're
to counteract that. That is not.
Present U.S. grand
We're not.
strategy that has to do with like a global presence, right? We don't just like go into a region, defeat all our adversaries, move on to the next one. We tend to just accept the reality that our enemies and adversaries will be in this region into the foreseeable future, because we are not like wiping out civilizations overnight. Like we think we have that capability, some elements of our administration, but like we don't. We know, and military strategy has reflected this for decades. We deter, we do not destroy outright. No matter how
Exactly, and
much
so
we
maintaining
try
deterrence is the
otherwise, right?
is a core strategic mission of a current conflict in this war. If you
So
just,
out of
if you
all of
example decide,
America's
like you're saying, just
adversaries, out of
withdraw.
every single
What is?
one,
I have a
look,
question for you. I have a question for you,
accepting the
and
point.
just short question for you. I have a question.
I think I deserve like a point though, given like you've talked ad infinitum. What like how much of Iran's like how much of America's enemies do you think like Iran represents? Like 10%, 20%, 30%? I mean, they are on the Hormuz. They are on
Can you
the Persian
clarify
Gulf.
between
That
like
matters a
power,
lot.
like level of power, or like level
Like
of
as an
importance?
expenditure of our energy and our military capabilities. Like what do you think Iran represents? Because I would argue that we've overspent. We've overspent on Iran, and we've given ourselves a weaker position against other more dangerous adversaries like China. That's my root point. That's why I keep going back to the
Okay,
financial
that's fine.
expenditure. That's why I keep going back to the
That's totally
munitions
fine. And so
expenditure.
let's work with that. Let's that's a great point. Let's start working from there. So let's just say like you're like, you know, you're building a house, and you know, for whatever reason this house is being really difficult to build. You know, you built, you know, like 50% of it, and it's really, there's a lot of difficulty in there, and you're just like, well, I'm just gonna like pack up shop, and it's just like I'm gonna build a new house somewhere else. Well, the problem is you've already spent all that money, you know, building that house, and you've already spent so much of your wealth, you know, building the structure. Now if you just decide to withdraw from the house, you're not getting any of that stuff back. You're not getting any of the material back. You're not getting any of that time back. Now, I understand you're making a point of like sunk cost. You know, this is too delirious, and it's too detrimental to us but doing something else in the future. But what I'm arguing right now is that this is an abject threat immediately, and so you're just walking away from this doesn't stop it from being a threat. It continues to be a threat, and it continues. And if we just walk away, Iran will be in a much stronger position. They'll be in a much stronger position to do its primary threat, to threaten the United States and the global economy in the most primary way, shutting down the Gulf. And so they have a much stronger position if we just walk away from this conflict, not a weaker position.
Actually, no. I won't actually ask you that, because I think you're going to misrepresent it. My position is that I think we already have every concession we need from Iran to like leave this war in a good position. I think Iran is ready to give up like 95% of their enriched material.
You know that?
They're ready to make a commit. Isn't it the case that our negotiations presently are like sitting at like, okay, we won't like, you know, pursue a nuclear weapon for like 15 years. We will stop the enrichment of uranium for like 15 years. Is that not the case anymore? They were ready to do that at Oman.
Iran says that,
war,
but I mean, like, would you seriously believe that Iran wouldn't do something like that in the future? I mean, regardless, their main strategic threat is not nuclear weapons at this point. It's just mine warfare. Like that is overwhelmingly the main strategic threat.
Right, because you spent your deterrent. You spent your deterrent to effectuate some change, and you fell short. And now your deterrent doesn't actually mean shit anymore. And so they are moving in to do these strategic options that they have always had, but they thought they wouldn't actually match us like band for band. Like now they know that it matches.
The issue fundamentally is that if you buckle under Iranian pressure, you will affirm again the destruction of the open waters policy. What you will say is that if there's various problems that happen because the United States war, if you just cause various problems to happen, then what will happen is that the United States will eventually just get tired, it will get bored and just leave you to whatever like powerful however much power that you can claim in a certain region. I mean, this isn't just over the Gulf. This can also be over the.
I think that's like a really online way of putting it.
Because the Strait of Malacca, for example, with Indonesia. Indonesia is currently aligning itself with China as we speak, and they're building up a massive fleet. So what if they say, "Hey, you know what? Everything that crosses the Strait of Malacca, we're going to take a fine." You know.
That's hardly to do with like the consequences of the Iran war versus the consequences of the Trump
administration. Well, Indonesia is looking very closely at this war because if they see that the United States will just quit.
Like, what is the outcome of this war for you? Like what are you looking to get, and what do you think is more realistic to get out of this if you like continue like this current posture, or if you escalate up? Like what like is this chain reaction that you're looking for? What are you?
So you're asking a few different questions. So if you're asking if we maintain the current posture, then I believe then what I believe is that we maintain an asymmetrical attacks against Iran, as destroying their facilities that produce the weapons that they can use to shut down the strait. Then Iran will be in an increasingly difficult position of trying to put more and more effort into making these weapons and less effort to try to defend their own regime. And as a result, the regime will become weaker and weaker. if you just withdraw, they will be able to maintain, them be able to build even further more asymmetrical capabilities to attack the strait. If the president decides to escalate to invade Iran, then that invasion needs to be full and swift. You can't just send, a platoon of Marines. You would have to send, like, probably the vast majority of the strength of the United States military in order to topple the regime as quickly as possible and to reinstate a democratic governance.
Maybe the only time I do so. What does the word asymmetric mean? Like, where do we get that term? Because I can speak to where we get that term. We get that term because we spend more on this war than they are. Like, you are saying that they're going to be more readily able to rebuild their conventional capabilities and they're going to be able to act freely again. Presently, they are already doing so, and in our exertion to try and get them to stop, we are already losing that, like, trade. Okay, and regardless if we have more resources that we can,
do you think the United States? It's more difficult for the United States to deploy military munitions than Iran does. I mean, even the fact that they can only produce drones and mines, that is still, even though a smaller monetary percentage, that's still greater. Like,
are absolutely, like, different. They are of a different kind. Like, they are throwing unguided, like just unguided munitions.
Yeah, the Shahed drones and mines. Yeah,
these static locations that are just like sitting there to be, like, destroyed. Okay, because our interceptors that we're spending to shoot those unguided munitions out of the sky, they're running dry. Every time we intercept a missile, we spend more than they have. Every time we intercept a drone, we spend more than they do. Okay,
exactly. So that's why you should be attacking to maintain the current posture. You should be attacking the facilities that produce them. Correct. We have strategic bombers. We have long range guided missiles. So the answer to that is not
required more active, like, air presence over Iran. Like, we failed to achieve.
We would easily be able to do that. That's not even Iran's air
that's why we're, like, losing pilots.
Is nothing.
Right? Like, that's why we were getting those, like, planes shut down on a fairly regular basis before we, like, pulled back. Like, that's, like, we were able.
I believe that was due to an error or mistake, but Iran nonetheless. I mean, they do present some threat, but the core
that doesn't happen if you have air superiority.
But I mean, just functionally, like, there's only so many amount of times they can build a new warehouse, before it's destroyed. Like, the way that Nazi Germany was defeated was principally around oil.
For, like, a couple of weeks, like 2 planes was actually a fair amount, but, like, yeah. And then we had to stop. And then, like, that was a huge cost that we were doing to get recon on their sites and just, like, all of these, like, the operation to destroy, like, their static locations and to find these underground facilities, like, that takes exertion on the part of the United States. That does take expenditure. And that takes material.
Yeah, I'm not denying that. My position is not, and I want to be clear about my argument. My position is not that, this war does not cost the United States anything. That's not my argument. It was never my argument. And, like, if you keep accusing that to me of having that argument, that is bad faith. My argument is very simply
but the scale matters. And
I'm from the conflict as right now,
it feels like you're pushing back against it. Like,
okay, so would you at least concede that withdrawing from Iran would need to have Iran along a multilateral treaty to sign a multilateral treaty that they will agree to a multilateral treaty that will keep the strait open.
To agree to in Oman, and your only response to me when I brought this up was that, like, oh well, their commitments are, like, kind of hard to judge. It's kind of hard to trust their.
But you agree that would be something that is your position. Your position is not, and I'm generally trying not to be bad. Your position is not literally just, like, withdraw the United States like, Navy and our air forces, correct? Just do it just unilaterally.
No difference between just, like, agreeing on the couple of things we have to agree to that are concessions on our part and then walking away, like, cleanly versus, like, just walking away with nothing.
But
like,
you would still support the United States military presence with their allies.
You don't have to, like, no. To be clear, like, I don't think that's necessary. I don't think that's a necessary thing.
You don't think that's necessary?
I need to agree to it. Yes. Also, your side of the debate is, do you want to continue this conflict to get our full range of concessions, if I'm not mistaken? Because if you are on my, like, if we're agreeing on this, if we're agreeing on, like, oh yeah, we're just going to pick up our.
The core concession that you would need to extract from Iran is that Iran will agree, not agree to end its mining operations in the strait and agree to have a demilitarized zone along its non-populated borders
during the ceasefire. And they were only being transigent because the Trump admin has shown, like, an unreliability in their own wheeling and dealing. Because, yeah, of fucking course they have. I think with any other State Department, Iran would have already come to the table and agreed to all these concessions of yours. Now, it just requires the Trump administration to get serious and, like, show something on their part that they are acting in good faith. Like, there's not, like. There isn't an outcome where we ramp up these operations or we keep these operations going at their current level and you secure those concessions. You acknowledge that, right?
No, I disagree. I think you can extract concessions. The United States
Does
is not,
that come after we do
underfoot
another
the same
round of
sort of
showing their
like.
leadership again? Does that come after we do another round of bombing again? Does that come after we send like ships through the straits and we like have to pull them out immediately because they were hitting some of our ships? Does it like what are we talking about here? Like
No,
we've done
what that
all
would
of
come
these
out
like
of, and if you
meaningful
let me finish.
de-escalation. What you're approaching for is like you're asking to invade Karg Island, which is what Trump was saying he was going to do to like continue the escalation up, because that was some of the only strategic options
Okay,
they had left. Short of
do
an
not
invasion
make
of
bad faith arguments about what my argument is. Okay, from my
No,
position
it's not
and
bad faith. It's
my
just those are
position.
your available strategic options. Those are your available strategic options to like either keep the war at its current pace, which you've already said you don't want to do. Like, oh, this will require some future stuff. Like, no, like what
So no, my position
have to
was
go
there was two options about whether or not like I would think are like the two most viable options, which are to maintain current pace or escalate, or like you're saying, withdraw. Now, withdraw would mean that some sort of working with Iran to agree to some kind of agreement and then withdraw. My thing is yes, I disagree that making an agreement with Iran will most likely lead to a better outcome, because I think from what we see from the Iranian government and what we see from the Iranian talks, they foundationally will not agree to a treaty unless they get fine extractions out of the strait. So they basically have to forcibly force other countries to pay them. So that would be the only thing they would possibly agree
and
to.
Iran had to play footsie about it with us toward the end of the ceasefire, because it was clear that like Trump wasn't being serious about the actual like end of the war. Like, you would acknowledge that like a first step towards like actually ending the war would not be that we scale up operations. It would not be that we continue operations at their current pace. It would be to somewhat scale down operations and probably send our ambassadors in person to
No, absolutely not.
Islamabad,
If you want to if you want to
first
secure a proper treaty with a
real
country that is a
ambassadors
threat to
there,
you,
right?
it
Rather
is
than
to
do it over
show that
the
you
phone.
are much more powerful and that you're good and that you're extending a mercy to them by agreeing to a treaty. Germany, when Germany was agreeing to a treaty with the Soviet Union, did they ramp down military operations in the Eastern Front? No, they massively increased their armed presence in the thing. And then when Trotsky famously said, "Oh, the war's over, we're not going to fight anymore," the German army just marched into Western Russia. So no, you don't just we're not going to do anything. We're going to
rabbit hole, and I know the material facts of that. I think it's a little bit more broad than what you're talking about. Like, what you're asking for is like, yeah, that didn't actually work out well for Germany in the end, right? Like they didn't actually have a say over the governance of those territories post Brest-Litovsk. Like, but we're gonna
that's because they ended up losing the Western Front, but that doesn't stop the fact that they defeated Russia. And that the idea that if you want to bring a treaty if you want to work to a treaty that you withdraw forces is absurd. If you believe that securing a just treaty to the end of this war means withdrawing United States forces, withdrawing capacity, then that's absurd. That is stupid. Iran would not agree. That would just continue to press harder. Yes.
Of like what we need to do, and the person that you're referencing as like the POV character, Germany, like failed in every respect. Like, they were fighting Soviet armies. They were not destroyed. They went on to win the Russian Civil War. If that's like the IRGC in this metaphor, it doesn't work. And then you're talking about them effectuating the terms of Brest-Litovsk, which was to carve up client states out of the Eastern European countries. They failed to do that too. There was no Ukraine state at the end of that. There was no Belarus state at the end of that. The Baltics had to fight for their own independence, and Polish had a miracle. Okay, like that was nothing to do with like Germany's willingness to escalate the Eastern Front of World War I on their part. So you just
it had a lot to do with escalating. Yeah, it did.
Like, more than anything, like you have to acknowledge that like escalate to de-escalate only works when you're in the driver's seat and you don't have other strategic concerns. Germany, in your example, did have other strategic concerns. They had a war that was ongoing with the Western powers that they had to win. The United States was on its way into the Western Front. Like, we have China, and China meeting with Trump in this last week basically said, yeah, go play around in the sandbox, but if you even put a ship in the Strait of Taiwan, you're gonna get your shit rocked, because we saw you get your shit rocked with a country half our power.
Yeah, exactly. And you're only confirming my position, which is that the United States should maintain its current level of operations in the Gulf, because if the United States withdraws, it will only encourage further responses in other countries, like with China and in Indonesia, who realize that who will see the United States, if you just make the situation painful enough, that the United States will just withdraw from the region. That is a terrible precedent to establish, and
preserve our power to actually effectuate our policies in regions that we can reasonably.
Are you saying the United States does not have the power right now to both to ramp up missile production, to both defend Taiwan
I know
and
you don't
currently
actually
prosecute the
believe
war
this
in
because
Iran
you
at the
think
same
Obama's
level we are
pivot
right
to
now.
Asia was a bad policy. Do you think Obama's pivot to Asia was a bad policy, especially when we had the ongoing insurgency in Afghanistan going on?
The
We had
pivot to
ISIS
Asia
in
policy
Iraq.
is completely red herring because right now, at that
That
time,
is what I'm
there was
arguing
not
for.
there
That
was
is what
not a
I'm
war
arguing
in
for, is
Iran
that
going
you
on.
get out of
We're
this
at a war
fucking
with Iran right now.
quagmire with
So
no
like,
end in
it is
sight.
irrelevant who
Concessions
started the
you get.
war. If it is a so do you, it's irrelevant who started this war. It's irrelevant. Right now, we are in a conflict
I
with
feel like you're
Iran.
about to start saying like we've been at war for 47 years. Like what's
No,
going on?
no, we
Like,
have not.
I'm
That's
saying we
ridiculous.
need
I
to
don't agree
pivot
with that.
to our actual strategic threat. We have to pivot to our actual strategic threat. We already can get the concessions that we need out of Iran.
And
We can
Iran
just go to
remains a
Asia
strategic
and
threat.
deter our real threat.
Okay, so
right?
let's. I just want to be clear. Hypothetical example. Let's just say Iran and China. It's not. This isn't a hypothetical. They work together. Let's just say China, for example, they want to take Taiwan.
China's
To,
words
landing in
about
Taiwan is really
humiliating
risky. So what
Iran.
they're going to do is they're just going to patrol all around. They're just going to basically do a blockade of Taiwan, and they're going to agree with. They're going to work with Iran to also close off the Strait of Strait of Hormuz. As a result of that, East Asia is going to have a massive oil crisis because they're not going to be able to have enough oil. That means Japan, South Korea, and Taiwan are not going to be able to have enough oil, including Vietnam as well. But they're going to have a special.
Kind of
But Iran will have a special
overblown,
agreement to send its ships to
Russia
Iran.
still has
Okay.
like strategic. Like, let's be clear. Like right now, we're engaging in like free market dynamics. If we're
No,
actually
no,
like,
you didn't let me finish what I was saying. You didn't let me finish what I was saying. This is a massive strategic threat, and if you maintain, and if you let Iran continue to be a threat in that way, that's going to
of China and Russia. Russia, who has a bunch of oil, China, who has a bunch of green energy. If China's really having an issue with fossil fuels, I think they can go to our other strategic adversary and just ask them for oil. Russia right now has the freedom to choose their markets because we have engaged in this war in this way. The European markets can just pay the toll at the Strait of Hormuz, but there's a good chance we could probably extract that concession from Iran if we just walk away. Like,
probably. The thing is, you just don't know that, and we only know that if you continue to prosecute the war. Like you will know whether or not Iran is giving up if you force Iran to give it up. You know, instead of just like, oh, well, let's just hope that they do. Yeah.
But we do know. You're just like doubting their word. Like you're doubting their word that they would do so. But like, unless you want to kill this round of leadership and get another one that like you can trust a little bit more marginally better. Good job seeing how that turns out given the last round of how this like played out. But like. You're gonna have to these are the people you're going to make an agreement with. So when you say that like we can't really take them at their word, that they're gonna commit to the 15 years of denuclearization, that they're gonna actually unmine the Straits of Hormuz, that they're not gonna blockade the Strait of Hormuz, like yeah, these are the people you're always gonna have to go to. Okay, and if you're saying that because we engaged in this war, now we're gonna have to strategically locate like 60% of our navy outside of the Strait of Hormuz to deter Iran from ever doing anything with the Strait of Hormuz, then like. I don't care. Let them fucking do it. We have our own resources that we can draw from in the United States. I'll actually W Trump, bro, because he's gonna drill baby drill and give us all the fossil fuels that we need, and we can do the Democrat shit where we have a bunch of green energy.
So
we can just
like again, you're not resolving any of the problems that are actually happening because of this war.
Our navy,
like it doesn't.
Our maritime power.
We're getting really sidetracked at this point. Okay, so we're getting really sidetracked. I understand. But the core question again, and I will bring it back to this, is that what is engaged in the conflict? And what my argument is that as long as the United States has troops within the Persian Gulf, that means stationed in Qatar, that means stationed in Bahrain, that means stationed in the Emirates, that means stationed in Kuwait, that Iran will perceive that as a threat and continue to attack the United States. The only way that Iran's going to agree to a treaty is if they make an extremely punishing treaty in this regard. And so we cannot, and that's a treaty we cannot tolerate.
Like pre-Iran war. Do you think we can do that like at all?
Sorry, could you? I didn't hear the beginning. Could you repeat that?
Do you think that we can return to peacetime? Because we were at this like stalemate without like killing each other by like just being at peacetime. Like before this war began, we did that. We cooperated with Iran, even though they have an existential like fear of us. They did not bomb.
Yeah, so it's not about who started this war. You know, we are currently involved in this war, and so walking away from this conflict right now doesn't make any sense. It just does not make any sense. What you're promoting.
I'm gonna do a little bit of a meme. Yes or no?
What will idealistically happen? You're just saying,
yes no,
if we walk away, that all of these idealistic things will happen. But the reality is, we're going to be stuck with all the costs that have already been incurred. We've been stuck with all the costs that have already been incurred. They're not going to get. It's not going to get.
This war can end, right?
Sorry.
this war can end, right? Like this war can end, right?
Yes, it can end by Iran agreeing to American demands. Yes, it can do that, and
Okay,
it's not going to
now we've
happen if
got like
Iran
more
just
so it
if
can
you just
end by
let
them
Iran
agreeing
do
to
whatever
our
the fuck it
demands.
wants. Because if the
Can we adjust our
Iranian
demands?
Sea,
Can we
so if your
adjust our
opinion,
demands
do you think if the
or-
United States just stopped striking American Iranian bases, they just said, okay, we're just we're just not going to be attacking Iranian positions anymore? Do you think Iran would then come to the negotiating table right after that?
This is why like the reality on the ground matters. Right now, the only thing stopping a peace agreement between Trump and Iran is that Trump wants Iran to say that we've agreed to everything Trump wants. And Trump doesn't want to compromise on a single one of his terms because he thinks it'll be bad for the midterms. That is the only reason we are still at war. He has stopped bombing them consistently. They have stopped bombing us consistently. They are continuing to exercise authority over the Strait of Hormuz, but that doesn't actually have to do with any of our ships. Like it's just maritime shipping. It's not the American Navy, right? So like I'm just asking you, like, what do you think that America can compromise our demands a little bit to effectuate the end of this war? Like
Do you think
can we do
America
that?
can
Like,
put
materially?
compromises on the table? So, I mean, Claire, I'll just try and be in good faith. Do you think? Do I think America can put compromises on the table based on from what Trump's demands to be something that Iran would agree
To
to
end the
that will
war
keep the
and put
strait
an
open?
end to the costs of this war that we both agree is real, can we just like go down on our demands a little bit? Like, can we just like say, you know what, Iran, we don't need an indefinite promise of peace. We only need like a 15-year promise of like no nuclear weapons. We don't need
Yeah,
to
I
regime
do not
change
think that's
you. We
unreasonable.
can
I
just
do not
claim
think
that
that is
we did,
unreasonable.
and then we can walk away.
But I
Okay,
do not think that's unreasonable. But
that does
that will
not
come down to
require
America
escalation.
maintaining a strong presence in the region, and also it will be
That
make
does
sure
not
that it will do
require
several things to
escalation and
prevent
further
Iran
engagement
from
in
being
like
able to
a
shut down
war
the
in
strait
Ukraine.
whenever it pleases. Okay,
I
because
actually don't think
if
that
you
like
have
it
the
would
ability,
matter.
for example, for Iran to rapidly deploy small boats to deploy mines in the area, then the treaty doesn't matter. Within literally overnight, the entire strait can be mined to hell, and you have all the exact same problems
That is a
just on a
reality
whim.
of the geography. That is the reality of geography. We are going to have that reality no matter what happens. And regardless, you will have to pull your ships away at some point. So you cannot indefinitely uphold the treaty by the U.S. Navy sitting outside the Strait of Hormuz, 60% of our maritime power projection capability. Like, we cannot just sit that and park that out there. We do have to eventually go back to deterring China. We do eventually have to continue to uphold maritime law around the world. Okay, God forbid the Somalis get back into their piracy shit again. Like we have other responsibilities with our Navy that we have to uphold, and we will have to leave the war at some point, right? If we actually
Whatever
want
war
to
ends.
like
I'm not saying
literally
literally never end the war. But I think your
no,
position,
but like
the
we can
fundamental
scale
flaw with
down.
your
We can scale
position
down. Like we can scale
is this
down,
sort
and
of
we don't
idea, this
have
sort of
to
really
keep our Navy
optimistic
there
idea that
to
if you
achieve the
just
peace.
America just lowers its demands, if America just moves out its fleet, that it's going to get a good treaty with Iran. And I just fundamentally disagree. America will need to maintain its presence and be willing to compromise on some positions, but maintain a strong military presence there. And then once a multilateral treaty is
Like
established, Iran can prove itself to be not a
so how
threat.
long do you think
However,
it'll take
I
you to
also
like
do
get a
believe
treaty?
that the Iranian regime is also incredibly weak at this moment.
This
And I believe that if the United States maintains its military presence here, that it will just not just deter Iran from the future, but it will also continue to weaken the regime and make it less and less able to maintain itself within its current station, and make it more and more likely that Iran collapses militarily. Collapses by a popular
you would
uprising.
welcome that. You would welcome like the collapse of, and you would like welcome like a Libya on the Strait of Hormuz. Like that's like a good strategic like position for the United States to be in.
Iran
Or
is
like
not the
now we
same
don't even have
as
like
Libya. It is
now
not
we
the
don't
same
even have
as
a
Iraq. It is
counterpart
not the
who
same.
deals
These
with.
places are not the
We just
same
have the
places.
IRGC
I
militias
understand,
like
you're
battling
American, and so
the
you might not know the difference between countries. But Iran, the Mullah regime is a parasite that exists on top of the presidential republic of Iran. And so if the Mullah regime collapses, Iran can swiftly transition to a presidential system because it already
No,
has
but
a
the
presidential
IRGC
system.
are the one with all the guns, right? Like the IRGC are the ones with all the guns. They're ideologically
Yeah, and
committed.
they're also
They're holding
extremely
that regime,
unpopular.
and
And so
like
if the
All
Iranian people feel
right.
like there's
but
no other need,
That is
okay.
time.
minus
Be going
40,000 protesters. This is the same
there.
thing that had like yeah.
All right. We'll be going to closing statements. Casual started, so your 2-minute closing statement. Casual start. My bad.
So if I did
All right,
not get
time
around
starts
to
now.
reaching, so if I did not get around to like hitting on every single point that I aimed to do so, then that's on me and my poor management of time. But I think that between the direct dollar cost, the cost of the pump, the actual like reality in the Strait of Hormuz, that like we're actually not really, even with our Navy there, we aren't really able to exercise any control. We're not like, we want ships to go through, but we can't get them through right now, which would require like a peace to effectuate. We have like strategic opportunity costs with Taiwan. Like China is moving in on Taiwan right now, and we have to be able to deter them. Russia's continuing to reap in like record profits from the oil market, and every minute that we're here and we're not able to like secure like a quick peace, one that like is reasonable, not perfect, but reasonable, we have a credibility problem where we just are bullheaded. And that is a bad look on the world stage. People will not trust us to engage in coalition warfare with us if we do not have the sense to get out when it's not to our advantage. Like that is a credibility problem to our allies. More than, do we win every single war? Like we've already won. We can get most of the concessions we want. We don't need 100%. We need like to get out now. Yeah, I think that's where I'm gonna just close. I don't have like a good bow for it. I feel kind of
Okay.
dissatisfied, honestly.
Okay.
No, it's all good.
2-minute closing
All right,
statement.
I'm ready.
Ezra. Time starts now.
All right. Yeah. Well, I really appreciate the thoughts, and he points out a lot of really important really vulnerabilities about this conflict that is revealed about the United States military. But as a closing point, I think what this shows is that we both agree that Iran is a significant threat. However, there are certain things that we can do to mitigate that threat in the future. And also, there's a certain outcome that is ideal is to keeping the Gulf open and the Straits of Hormuz open for free flow of goods. However, this idea that just because that there's a lot of Russia's benefiting from this and Iran's benefiting from this and China's benefiting from this, that suddenly withdrawing would mean that they would stop benefiting from it, that they would stop it would be it would that it would be disadvantageous to them. That just does not play out with the evidence. The United States can maintain a presence in the Gulf and continue to strike Iranian threats in the Gulf, and put strong pressure on Iran to agree to a formal treaty limiting Iran's capabilities for asymmetrical warfare and decrease its efforts in influencing and threatening our allies in the region. What is also important to understand is that because of the bargaining model, there are certain things that Iran may not be able to compromise on. Iran may not be able to compromise at this point on withdrawing from fines through the Strait of Hormuz. That's what they've positioned themselves as. And so as a result, if Iran is unable to budge on implementing fines on the Strait of Hormuz, then there is no reason not to continue the war. That is too much of a strategic vulnerability. It is too much of a damage to the global system to incur. It is in the bargaining model is called a indivisible demand. And our indivisible demand is keeping the waters open. And if Iran maintains that keeping the waters closed is their indivisible demand, then this war should go on.
That is time. We'll be throwing a straw poll in chat instead of a poll. But yeah. Good job, you two.
Yeah, it was great. Really appreciate it. You did a really good.
All right.
Yeah. Good job, guys. The
Judges,
straw poll
sending
is
your-
live because you bastards.
I thought it was really
He's
cute. Okay,
screenshotting the shit.
I don't even have a problem with it. Okay, they tied it. I thought it was a beautiful battle the last debate. Okay, I
Yeah.
thought it was a cute ending to have it tie out like that.
It was kind of dope. But yeah, we were hinted at the outcome prematurely. And so I know a lot of you are premature, but we don't want to bring that into this space. So yeah, straw poll it is, friends.
Fraud. There's fraud already. I knew that was rigged.
Rigged.
That's all good. Let's see. And I'm gonna let that simmer. Y'all are stupid.
Holy shit, Wishcaster. They fucking
Personalized
that ad was
ads, by the way.
crazy. Holy fuck. They fucking cooked you. Oh boy.
That is fucking hilarious. Oh my god.
Take the quiz.
Not that there's
Oh.
it.
need
My
to check
daughter is
the
autistic, so
ballots right now.
there's nothing wrong with
We
that.
need the ballot records.
True.
That is so funny. Oh man.
Ooh,
Hey,
shit.
also I don't know if you guys noticed a common theme with the topics tonight. But
True.
it is Armed Forces Day in America.
Mhm.
So
I didn't
Yeah.
know
we
that was a
wanted
thing.
to
I would be honest.
yeah.
I did
We had a
not know
big
that was a
fair
thing.
outside my house, so I just decided I had to, go to it.
True.
Go outside for once.
Nice.
Touch grass.
Wait, that's like different from Memorial Day, right?
Yeah, it's different. It's a whole different day.
Yeah,
I didn't
yeah.
even know. Got Armed Forces Day, and then next week we'll have Memorial Week. Technically, it's like
Yeah,
Okay.
you have one day
Thursday
for
shit.
the troops who
Are
aren't with us
alive, and
anymore, and one
then
day for the troops who are with us. So
true.
seems fair.
My hometown actually had like the Victory Arch where all the soldiers returning from World War I would go through, like before they went on to like the rest of the country by train. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, so shout out to all veterans and members of the armed forces. We really appreciate your service. My older brother is a two-time deployed Iran war vet, so it's nice to be able to celebrate him a couple times a year with free Denny's pancakes and shit. So, thanks America for
Bro,
rewarding our
Yep.
troops so well.
free
Um,
Denny's. What's more American than
yeah.
that?
Honestly,
And
America does not
IHOP,
award
can't
it
forget
enough.
that.
Every single veteran deserves at least one F-150. True
True.
patriotism.
Right, with the gold-plated
And
toilets.
also free 1 year free of lifetime free entry to buy anything from Arby's.
Oh, Arby's.
Exactly.
Fuck. Curly
We're
fries.
not trying to
Fuck.
give them all diarrhea, my friend. We're just trying to. Actually, I can't even say that about Arby's. I fucking love Arby's.
That shit. Oh.
We can't do Taco Bell because that's Mexican. So Trump won't be pleased.
All those tacos. True. Real shit.
Even though he mainlines it, I'm sure. The hypocrisy doesn't matter.
Give another minute for votes. You want to vote?
Yeah.
Vote now or forever hold your peace.
Yeah, I'll put the link in one more time so it's fresh. There you go.
Or
And also,
we got the
we're
beef.
we're not from here, y'all. We are from Digital Ground Game. So, thank
True.
you to Destiny for letting us crash his house every Saturday. But also, be sure you come on over to our house. All right? You're more than welcome.
Political arm.
If you're
of
tired of
DGG.
black pilling and being a doomer, then Digital Ground Game is the place for you. We are getting our canvassing efforts underway right now. So if you are interested in joining that effort, there is a form on our site. Go to digitalgroundgame.org or again, join us at discord.gg/digitalgroundgame.
Real shit.
We should have a food channel. We have a gaming channel. We have a shit post channel. We have a media team. We have regional squads, but alas.
Okay, we just have Paul pretend to be the fucking oh my god, I always forget his goddamn name. The food guys. Food guys? The fuck was that?
Oh, the Epic Mealtime.
Epic Mealtime. Yes.
Yeah.
Harvey?
Oh yeah, that
He has- Paul has the same fucking voice as Harvey, okay? Like, I'm sure we can just we can steal his identity and just say that I feel like Harvey's talked to Destiny before. I don't know.
Not sure.
I don't know that
Not
crossover.
sure.
I need to kill myself. Oh god, Paul.
What?
Hmm?
Hang on, friends.
Harley, I'm sorry. Harvey Dent. Bro, real shit. All right, let's close up the chat. Close up the voting.
All right. Let me stop it. Okay. So this was another tight win. We got a total of 23 votes. I guess we're sacrificing a little bit using a link, but I appreciate everybody who clicked on in and cast their vote. So out of 23 votes, 14 went to casual. 9
Casual.
went
Congrats.
to
Yay.
Azrael. But this is just
Wham, wham.
our chat. This is the viewer's
Cat
choice.
vote.
But
Popular
we're
vote.
also awaiting our judges.
Was it?
Yes.
True. Casual in the popular vote.
Yes.
All right. I don't-
All right. Well, that was nice. For what it's worth,
Alright.
I didn't actually agree with the position I was assigned to, but I was happy to fill the role. So yeah, had
Real shit. All right.
yeah.
Now for our
So
judges.
yeah, we had a great time. So
Yeah. Well,
um,
hey, we still got the judges. Okay.
mhm.
Ezreal, he got all 3 judges.
Oh
By
wow,
the skin of your fucking teeth.
What?
wow.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know what's going
Proof.
on with the
That's
judges.
This is why
crazy.
democracy does not work. Plato was correct. We need a society ruled by big brain judges, who, I don't know, play Europa Universalis all the time.
True.
That's the only
Wow.
way to control society.
That's wild.
Someone brought up that this was like a Hoi 4 debate. I'm just
I
gonna
mean,
pop this.
things can happen. That's all I'll say.
I want
I
to
did
build
a
up the
lot of
tension if you
research,
one vote went this way and then another vote went this way, like it was just down the line. I will say
Yeah.
both
Oh, casual. Those are some rookie numbers. I
both of
got
the
at
judges said
least
it was really hard.
20,000 hours in Europa Universalis.
No, you can't just say that. Fucking pose, because I'm one of the top 100 players in terms of hours for that.
Yeah, but the problem is that it's not recorded on my
On your
on my
Steam
Steam
Steam.
account. So
Yeah.
But I already got 200 hours in EU5, and I've only just started playing it from 3 weeks ago. So we're gonna rank up those numbers.
I got 7K. Okay.
Nice.
Fucking disgusting, bro. Sorry.
What, EU5?
Oh,
You're a hater?
I'm sorry, but what history gets told in that game? It's just like an eco simulation. What are you talking about?
Well, I mean, yeah, you just build.
I didn't learn anything new about history playing that shit. I was like,
you should just check out the new DLC with the Byzantine update. Definitely some cool shit.
Rome. I learned so much about
Yeah,
the
restore
alternate
Rome,
history from
bring back
Rome.
Roman Hellenism,
True.
reestablish the state of Israel.
We should all do the Roman
Nice.
salute on 3, okay? Everyone at
Oh
home.
God.
do the
You're trying to get us banned, dude.
All right.
Come on.
That's all for debate night this week. We'll be
Yes.
back next week at the same time. I don't know if other mods, would you like to have everyone go to another separate debate night?
Yeah, it looks like debate 2,
people-
everyone. Some
True.
casual.
right.
Thanks for being our Hillary Clinton. Congratulations, Azrael.
Hillary. Yeah, thank you. All right.
Won the popular vote.
All right.
All right.
Yeah, take care.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
So fun. That was very good. Thank you guys for hanging out with us. We'll see you next Saturday.